Hey guys, it's Ashley with 3R Sales and Service. Today we're taking a look at a customer's trailer that we just wrapped up. It's a 7x16 tandem axle enclosed trailer. It features an 8-gallon hot water system that we have set up on 2 guns and a gas engine soft wash system. So the first thing you'll notice here is that this is a little bit of a taller trailer. It's got the 7-foot interior. We like using this style trailer because one, it gives you more room for wall space if you need to store anything on the walls. If you have any team members that are a little bit taller, they're not bonking their head on the ceiling. And it just gives it an overall more spacious feel whenever you're operating it. The rivets are probably about 3 feet apart. We've had some, where they're maybe 12 inches or 18 inches apart. So the rivets being a little bit further apart makes it nicer to wrap. It just looks a little bit better. And then of course we've got a lot of aluminum features on here. The trim around the doors, the fenders, along the bottom, just makes it look nice, a little more corrosion resistant. So we've been really happy with this particular style trailer. We use it most of the time if you've seen some of our other videos. So starting with the doorway here, we've got our first 3 hose reels. There's 4 hose reels total on this rig. These are 12-inch, 12-volt rewind Titan hose reels. They're aluminum construction and they've got the stainless manifold on the pressure washer ones. And then we've got the hose guides as well on there. So the first 2 are your pressure washer ones. We'll call this hose 1 and hose 2. And then we've got our 100-foot garden hose at the bottom. Both of these pressure washer reels are holding 200 feet of the 3/8 hose. And then we've got these stainless steel ball valves on each one. So when we operate a 2-gun system, you're either going to have these ball valves on when you're operating that gun or off when you are not. So you can use it as a single gun, like 8-gallon, or you can use 2 4-gallon guns at the same time. Next to the hose reels, we have our soap injectors hooked up off the swivels. So these injectors are adjustable up to a 20% draw, but we also have a soap manifold at the back of the trailer that we'll get to when we go around back. And that gives you the option to draw from 3 different soap sources. So you can either blend those together or you can just pull each individual one. And then whenever that soap gets up to here, this is coming from that blend manifold, you can choose whether it goes to hose reel 2 or hose reel 1. Or you can just leave both of them open if you want to draw that same soap through both guns. So it gives the operators the option to not only wash, but to pull soap as well. Inside the trailer, let you move in there a little closer, is the hot water pressure washer. It's 3,500 PSI at 8 gallon per minute, our HDS series washer. The nice thing about this is it has a big 2,900 watt generator on there, and it's one of our hottest 8-gallon pressure washers with using the full 8-gallon flow. Some washers can get up to a higher temperature whenever you cut back the flow, but this one is one of our highest producing heat ratings for this style washer. It's got a temperature control on it. You can operate it without the burner being on, so you can use it as a cold water system if you want. And then we have the big T-Series general pump on there. It's a little harder to see what's all on there. It's got the Honda engine, a GX690, and the general pump. We use bleeder valves on that pump to make it much easier to prime if you get any air bubbles in that incoming line, or if you run out of water and you need to reprime it. We've got a 325 water tank in there, which you can see better from the rear, and a 2-inch drain that comes off of there. So you can quickly drain that tank while traveling from site to site, just to keep the weight down on that trailer while you're traveling. We'll go ahead and move around back, go over the rest of the system. You can see we have the double doors on here. Again, if you've seen some of our other videos, we do prefer using that double door. It gives us easier access to the equipment, so you're not walking up onto a ramp and having to stand up here and bend over to all your equipment. And then of course you don't have that ramp door sticking out if you're trying to park curbside and you need more space for that door. So starting with the soft wash system, we've got the Honda engine. It's an electric start. You just reach around here to turn that electric start on. And then we have the Comet P40 pump. The hose reel is another Titan hose reel. This one's a little bit wider. It's 18 inches and it is electric rewind. And there's 300 feet of the 1/2-inch soft wash hose on this one too. We've got the locking couplers. I forgot to mention that up front. We have those as well up there. And then we have a ball valve here just to keep all that liquid inside the hose while you're winding up your system. I'm going to jump in here. We'll show you the downstream I'll get to that in a second. I'll show you the downstream manifold and the proportioner that goes along with it, and then we'll go over the remote system as well, which you can see up front here. It's used whenever we're rinsing out the bleach valve or when you just want to rinse with your soft wash system. So I'll show you how that all kind of works together up here. So from this angle, I'll briefly review the tanks that we have first, and then I'll get to the mixers. We've got our 7-gallon surfactant tank at the bottom, a 55-gallon bleach tank. We have our 325 water tank, and then behind me, we have a 35-gallon soap tank. So, and then we'll get over to these manifolds. Sorry, there's a lot of back and forth, but easier to understand if you see the tanks first. So this is the blend manifold that goes with the soft wash system, or sometimes it's called a proportioner. It blends your water, your surfactant, and your sodium hypochlorite or your bleach. You'll use these valves right here in order to meter however you want those to go. And then on a manual rinse system, we'll typically have a valve down here to rinse out this valve and to rinse out your system. But what we have is the remote that comes with the remote rinse system. And what that does is it electronically turns off your surfactant and your bleach in order to rinse out your system. So what it does is it just flips that and starts drawing water instead. And then you can apply water with your soft wash system and get everything rinsed out and keep it well maintained, and then rinse the house or roof, whatever you're cleaning with it. And then you just hit that button again to open it back up. This manifold up here is for your downstream soap injection that gets pulled with your pressure washer. Now these soaps don't go through your pressure washer pump like they do on a soft wash pump. They just go through the injector and then out through your hose reel and hose and through your gun. So we have bleach, we've got soap 1, which is our surfactant, and soap 2, which is the tank that was on the other side of the trailer. So you can pull your house washing soaps through here, or if you have a degreaser or you do truck washing or any other type of soap, you can pull through that, that third line here. And then it all blends and goes down through this hose over to your injectors. So it's a lot of different valves, but it makes it much, much easier to switch soaps that way. So moving back around, we'll talk about this 325 tank again. We have a filter here that's attached to that green hose. That's your incoming filter. So once the water goes through your garden hose, it goes up into that filter and then down into your tank. So that prevents anything from getting inside your tank or clogging up the float valve. We've got a float valve on the inside of that tank to shut off the water level once the tank fills up so it doesn't overflow inside of your trailer. So that keeps that from overflowing or getting stuck. And then we have 2 more filters, one that goes to your soft wash system and one that goes to your pressure washer, just to keep anything that either can grow inside the tank, like if you get algae growth inside the tank if it doesn't get cleaned out often enough, anything really from getting inside this pump. So just a lot of filters to keep it extra protected. This yellow hose over here is your bypass hose for your pressure washer. That just keeps fresh, cool water running through your pressure washer pump when you are off the trigger. So when you let off that trigger, you set your gun down, it just circulates through that pump. You can keep your engine running for as long as you want, as long as you have water inside this tank to keep that pump nice and cool. Back over to this side, we've got our 35-gallon water tank. We've got a toolbox, keep all of your accessories locked up and organized. This red gun here is the gun that gets used with the soft wash system, and it has a swivel end on it so your hose doesn't get all wound up. And then we've got our transfer pump at the very back. So I'll kind of show you how that works here. You'll use a dipstick assembly to drop down into the soap that you want to transfer into the trailer, and you'll use the other end of this hose to guide it into the tank. We do have a ball valve on here so you can control easier to turn those liquids on and off, and then the power switch for the pump is just right here. Flip it on and off. It is a 12-volt pump, so we keep that charged up just by connecting it to the pressure washer battery so that you don't have to do any separate charging or plugging in. And it gives you the option to transfer liquids if you're on site somewhere and not just at your house or at your garage where you can plug in anywhere you need to. We've got an aluminum telescopic wand, and then we've got our 2 pressure washer wands for the 2-gun system. And of course, we've got the aluminum hooks. Most of the stuff is aluminum just to keep it as corrosion resistant as possible. We have the aluminum bands all around the tanks here. Again, it looks nice, keeps it more corrosion resistant. Right there in the middle, we have our 24-inch surface cleaner. We've got that secured down with those bolts that are also securing the tank in place. Just keeps that surface cleaner easily accessible, but also out of the way whenever you're trying to transfer your fluids. So we've got a lot of open space in here. And then the other thing that's probably the most obvious is the flooring and the paint. For the flooring, we use a protective flooring to keep the wood floor as in good shape as for as long as we can. So we know that these corrosive chemicals can do some serious damage to any of the steel and any of the wood that's inside a trailer. So this flooring has proven to hold up for a substantial amount of time and to keep those components protected a lot longer. We use paint just kind of as a moisture barrier, and it looks nice. It keeps everything looking tidy and professional whenever you're out on job sites. So if you have any questions on this particular setup, just give us a call or leave us a comment, and we'll answer any questions you have. Thanks.